if you would be having any purpose, or if you had a purpose, you would channel that energy. Sex, or the urge to indulge in sex, whether seeing it visually or like being stimulated, is just to escape the mission, escape your true calling, and you escape when your mission is missing. And then you go into this rut of seeking pleasure all the time. So most men today, training yourself, training your mind to resist temptations, then their businesses would shut down. So like all these pawns, hookups, validations, validation seeking behavior from the outside, it's all easy, but it's also empty. Now, what's a more practical way, not some fluff? First of all, the first thing that you need to do is change your identity towards how you perceive lust. And don't beat yourself up. You should just build. This video talks about how to stop letting lust control you, because hookups generally happen, or let's say the notion of being hook up as a culture being propagated is usually successful on people who are unable to control their own lust. So first of all, there needs to be a subtle mindset shift that you're not weak if you have given into lust in the past. It's just that you have not trained your muscle of discipline, of sexual, let's say, control. It's not that you can't control lust, it's just that nobody taught you how to do it. So every scroll, reel, and porn hit is training your brain to be chaotic and look for short dopamine releases. So lust isn't the problem, it's the lack of direction. Like, where do you want to go in life? Now, all of us know on a high level that what is the kind of direction, the kind of life that we would want to lead to, but it's just that the availability of so many things at all times is kind of distracting for us. So lust can only dominate your life when there is no structure to it. Chaos happens when there is no structure. If you would be having any purpose, or if you had a purpose, you would channel that energy. Sex, or the urge to indulge in sex, whether seeing it visually or like being stimulated, is just to escape the mission, escape your true calling, and you escape when your mission is missing. And then you go into this rut of seeking pleasure all the time. So most men today are dying from like overstimulation and under discipline. By dying, I here mean it in a metaphorical sense, that they are killing off their future potentials and things like that. The world wants to keep you average, because if you start training yourself, training your mind to resist temptations, then their businesses would shut down. So like all these pawns, hookups, validations, validation seeking behavior from the outside, it's all easy, but it's also empty. Now, what's a more practical way, not some fluff? First of all, the first thing that you need to do is change your identity towards how you perceive lust. And don't beat yourself up. You should just build routines, boundaries, and daily non negotiable. So, ideally, you're building a system. And that comes when you have this identity of a warrior, that okay, lust is my enemy, maybe externally or internally, but now I'll fight it like a warrior. And most people, companies, businesses, and let's say people in general, rely on systems, not moods and feelings. And you channel all that lust into power. So lust is like raw energy. If you repress it, it becomes toxic, and you would seek or look to find expressions in a lot of different ways. But if you redirect it, it's just a matter of aligning it towards the right thing, the right purpose. It becomes ambition, maybe aggression to some extent, and that leads to clarity when you're attacking your purpose with, let's say, clarity. And then don't fall for these alpha labels wherein they are selling you sex addiction. Most, and I quote, high value men are just dopamine slaves in disguise. High body count does not mean you have a high discipline in life. Stop praising such people or putting them over your head as if they are very important philosophers or thinkers that could change your life. Right? They're just grown up teenagers. And Another lesson which comes in tandem with this is becoming genuinely dangerous, not desperate. A focused man is dangerous. So you all might have heard a very famous quote from Bruce Lee that I don't fear the man who has practiced 1000 different moves. I fear the man who practices one kick 1000 times. Like, complete focus. A lust driven man is desperate. Don't be the guy who loses everything for a DM. Control your attention where it follows you, or they'll control you and sell you and rip you off your bank balances, your, let's say, long-term relationships and things which you could have genuinely do, right? Now sometimes there might be urges, learn to withstand it. An ideal way is having cold water baths, but the moment you're about to relapse, mm, that's your, I think, battlefield decision to make a choice. Sit with that, don't escape. Try turning it into a practical strategy. Either pick up a journal, write something, or watch some, let's say, horror uh, story, or a story where there's immense pain. Automatically your mind would be distracted. And then, all of this should be accompanied by a lifestyle wherein there are just things which are going on in your life. And most importantly is deleting all the dating apps, like blocking all the trigger points. Could be visual stimulus on social media apps and things like that, and spend time with other warriors. Let's say trying to build a community wherein there's just positive momentum to making the world, let's say, a better place, and a place wherein you can find expression. And the final message which I always keep in my heart as well is that legacy should outlast your lust. We are not here to impress women. We are here to build a life clearer of values and a life that cannot be ignored. Let your discipline kind of become your identity. Let your silence speak louder than someone else's body count. So let me know what you feel about it. And until then, this is Devishish Pindra from Debu Ki Dastak signing off. Cheers. Bye.